It was never meant to be seen. A quiet dinner, tucked away in a corner of Glasgow, far from cameras, far from headlines, far from the constant attention that follows two of the most recognizable faces from Outlander. No red carpet, no announcements, no official photos, just a normal evening that should have passed unnoticed. But it didn't. Because someone recognized them. The first reports didn't come from major media outlets or official sources. They came from small, scattered posts, a quick mention here, a blurry image there, a few words from people who claimed they had seen Heughan and Caitríona Balfe together in a private restaurant. At first, it sounded uncertain, almost like a rumor that would disappear within hours. But then more details started to surface. The location was consistent, the timing matched, and slowly, what seemed like a random sighting began to feel more concrete. According to those who were there, the setting wasn't a busy, public space. It was quiet, controlled, and noticeably low profile, the kind of place chosen specifically to avoid attention. That detail changed everything. Because if this were just a casual, public meetup, it would have been easy to dismiss. Co-stars meet all the time, especially after years of working together. But the idea of a private dinner, in a setting designed to stay under the radar, immediately raised a different kind of question. Why keep it so quiet? As more people discussed the sighting, attention shifted to the nature of the meeting itself. Reports suggested that they were not part of a larger group. There was no visible production team, no obvious connection to work-related activity. It appeared to be just the two of them, or at least, that's how it seemed to those who caught a glimpse. And that's where speculation began to grow. Because context matters. Sam and Caitríona are not just co-stars. They are two actors who have spent years building one of television's most intense on-screen relationships. Their chemistry has been analyzed, discussed, and debated countless times. So when they appear together outside of that context, quietly, without explanation, it naturally draws attention. Even the smallest details started to feel important. How long they stayed, how they interacted, whether they seemed relaxed or focused. People who claimed to have seen him described a calm, comfortable atmosphere, not formal, not distant, but familiar. The kind of familiarity that suggests more than just a quick, casual meeting. Of course, none of these observations confirmed anything. But they added texture to the story. Fans began revisiting past moments, connecting this sighting to other times when Sam and Caitríona were seen together outside of official settings. Each instance, on its own, meant very little. But together, they created a pattern that some found hard to ignore. At the same time, others urged caution. They pointed out that long-term co-stars often develop strong friendships. Sharing a meal, even in private, does not automatically suggest anything beyond that. In fact, it could simply reflect a level of trust and comfort built over years of collaboration. And that explanation made sense. But it didn't stop the curiosity. Because what made this moment stand out wasn't just the dinner itself. It was the contrast between how public their professional lives are and how private this meeting appeared to be. In an industry where even casual outings are often documented and shared, the idea of something happening quietly felt unusual. Almost intentional. There were no follow-up posts, no casual mentions in interviews, no attempt to acknowledge or dismiss what had been seen. Sam remained silent, Caitríona remained silent, and that silence allowed the story to grow without direction. For some, it was nothing more than a simple dinner between friends. For others, it felt like something more. Not necessarily a hidden relationship or a dramatic reveal, but a moment that existed outside of what fans are usually allowed to see. A reminder that not everything is part of the public narrative, and that sometimes, the most interesting moments are the ones that aren't meant to be shared. And perhaps that's why this story captured so much attention. Because it wasn't about what was confirmed. It was about what was possible. A quiet dinner, a private setting, and two people whose connection has always been difficult to define. No explanations, no clear answers, just a moment that raised a simple question. If it was just a normal evening, why did it feel like something more? As the story continued to spread, the reaction from fans quickly became divided, not in a dramatic way, but in a way that revealed how differently people were interpreting the same moment. What some saw as completely ordinary, others viewed as quietly significant. And that difference in perception is what kept the conversation alive. One group of fans immediately dismissed the speculation. To them, the explanation was simple. Heughan and Caitríona Balfe have worked together for years, built a strong professional relationship, and likely a genuine friendship. Sharing a private dinner, especially in a familiar place like Glasgow, didn't need to mean anything more than that. In fact, for many, it felt natural. After spending so much time together on set, it would almost be unusual if they didn't maintain a connection outside of work. A quiet dinner could easily be just that, a moment to catch up, reflect, or simply enjoy time away from the pressure of public attention. But not everyone was convinced it was that simple. Another group of fans focused less on the fact that they met, and more on how they met. The choice of a private setting, the lack of any public acknowledgement, and the absence of a larger group all stood out. It wasn't just that they were together, it was that they were together in a way that seemed intentionally low-key. And that raised questions. Why keep it so quiet if it was completely ordinary? Why no casual mention afterward, no hint that it had happened? In an age where even small interactions are often shared, the silence surrounding this moment felt unusual to some. That silence became part of the story. Because without clarification, every interpretation remained open. For some, it reinforced the idea that there was nothing to explain. For others, it suggested that there might be more behind the scenes, not necessarily something dramatic, but something personal enough to remain private. At the same time, many fans began reflecting on how easily moments like this can be misunderstood. Two people sharing a quiet dinner does not automatically create a deeper narrative. Context matters, but so does perspective. What one person sees as meaningful, another may see as completely normal. And in a fandom as engaged as this one, those perspectives often collide. That balance between curiosity and reality is what defines moments like this. Because on one hand, there is a genuine interest in understanding the lives of people fans admire. On the other, there is the recognition that not everything needs to be explained or interpreted beyond what it is. And perhaps that's the real takeaway. The dinner itself may never be fully explained. It may remain exactly what it appeared to be, a quiet, private moment between two people who share a long history. Or it may hold a significance that simply isn't meant to be shared publicly. But in the end, the reason it captured so much attention isn't just about Heughan or Caitríona Balfe. It's about the space between what is seen and what is imagined. Because sometimes, the most intriguing stories aren't the ones that are confirmed. They're the ones that leave just enough mystery to keep people wondering what really happened. Two people sharing a quiet dinner does not automatically create a deeper narrative. Context matters, but so does perspective. What one person sees as meaningful, another may see as completely normal. And in a fandom as engaged as this one, those perspectives often collide. That balance between curiosity and reality is what defines moments like this. Because on one hand, there is a genuine interest in understanding the lives of people fans admire. On the other, there is the recognition that not everything needs to be explained or interpreted beyond what it is. And perhaps that's the real takeaway. The dinner itself may never be fully explained. It may remain exactly what it appeared to be, a quiet, private moment between two people who share a long history. Or it may hold a significance that simply isn't meant to be shared publicly. But in the end, the reason it captured so much attention isn't just about Sam Heughan or Caitríona Balfe. It's about the space between what is seen and what is imagined. Because sometimes, the most intriguing stories aren't the ones that are confirmed.